You're listening to MarceyLynn once again on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. Harry, thank you for the wonderful introduction. It's another Thursday. And you got MarceyLynn once again. And today I am very, very happy to introduce some of my brothers and sisters from the community leaders, some along right, but they my tops people that do and then insult me when I help. So I just want the one hand wonderful and new brother. Uh, That's good you. So we'll have Lisa tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Know her, and like I always say, this is not my show, it's the community show. So they will individually introduce themselves, and I will put my input in when I know something really good about them.
Thank you,
So
Marcy.
Lisa,
Did you ask for me to start?
yes, please.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yes, thank you so much, Marcy, for the opportunity to be here with you on your show. We've been hearing your show for so long, and it's so wonderful. So it's an honor to be here with you. Thank you for inviting us. And my name is Lisa Bergman. She, her, hers pronouns, and I'm a person who's been in New Haven for around 20 years. I have family that grew up in New Haven, and I'm a community activist in New Haven. I did a lot of youth organizing for a while, and now part of Winchester New Hallville Club, Communist Party Club, and we do a lot of door-to-door work in New Hallville, making sure that we're communicating with people about what's going on, trying to respond to certain crises sometimes, and make sure people have access to resources, and just bringing people together to fight for equality and better quality of life, access to jobs, access to union jobs, housing. So we're going to talk about those things, but it's an honor to be here, and I love our community. I love how we just try to build together and come together as a community.
Exactly.
Against all odds.
I learn a lot from Lisa, guys. You know, I learn a lot from her. She's been around longer than I, even though she's younger than I. That's one of my kids, regardless. So I learn a lot from Lisa, and she teaches the youth so wonderfully. And the patience on her, sometimes I wonder, it's definitely a blessing to have her because she's so very patient. So next, I will have Jamal introduce himself. I know many of you know him as well, but Jamal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, guys. Can you hear me out there?
I can hear you wonderfully. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure having me this evening on your show, Marcy. Super excited to be here with my brothers and sisters. A little bit about myself. Some might know me. For those that don't, my name is Jamal Henderson. Longtime resident of New Hallville, New Haven, Hamden, South Hamden area. Work at Southern Connecticut State University, where I'm a union steward for the past 10 years. Been working at Southern 20 years in the food service industry. I'm also a member of the Winchester New Hallville Communist Club. Highly active in New Haven with the youth, if it's mentorship, if it's doing door-to-door, bringing information to the community, focusing on the community's needs, participate highly with my management team. Just the better of the community, the better of the people is something I'm very passionate about. And once again, it's a pleasure to have me on your platform, Marcy, so we could talk a little bit more about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you're in New Hallville and Jamal has knocked on your door, you need to contact him because he's gonna get information. Because he has some stuff that he needs to share with you for sure. So he probably has knocked on your door. You might not have been home. It might have been a sunny day and you were out. But trust me, if he's not back, someone will be back, and it will be him leading the charge. So, last but not least, of course, is my new brother, Sean Buskey. Tell me more about you.
Um, Hi, I'm Sean Buskey. I'm from New Haven as well. Born and raised. Grew up in. Oops, sorry, my alarm's going off.
That's okay, it happens.
Sorry about
Hey, it's
that.
not me, Sean. It's always me, Sean.
Yeah,
So don't feel bad.
yeah. So yeah, I'm another New Haven native. I grew up between New Haven, East Haven. I've lived all over New Haven as an adult. Right now, I'm at the New Haven Zen Center and over in near the uh, um, it's a Zen Buddhist temple. I've been here for about 2 years, where I'm in residential training. To hopefully one day become a teacher in this tradition. And then over the past couple of years, I've been really motivated to get more involved in, just in the community. I've joined the Peace Commission a couple of years ago, where I met Joelle, who is the chair of the Connecticut Communist Party, and I was, motivated and influenced to join that group as well. I think I'm the newest member of the club with the rest of y'all, and it's been really great getting involved and becoming more active in the community. I go out weekly with Jamal on our local route, knocking on doors, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. But yeah, it's my basic background. I've been like I said, I think I'm the newest member in the local group. But over the past few years, I've just really been sort of getting tired of watching from the sidelines all of the injustices, and just really been wanting to get more involved myself and try to make some positive change. And it's been really great so far.
It's wonderful. That is wonderful. I didn't know that about you. See, I learned something already. And I
Yep.
commend you because I know the dedication that it takes to do the things that you're doing in the lifestyle that you're living. And I appreciate you because we can always use some centering. And, I really, really appreciate that you are here with us because we are doing these fights and some people get so angry and you just seem like you can bring a little bit of peace in the multitude of madness that we live in. But so these are my comrades. They are wonderful people, and we are going to get into some of the work that we do in the community. A lot of you have seen us, and most of the time you see us together. And when you see us together, we're doing positive and energetic things and putting the truth out into the public, whether people think it's not true or not. Research. So one thing I wanted to mention is that Jamal does a route, and I've heard the route, and he's doing a route with Sean. So I think along with the fact of where we actually write the paper, I wanted to get into what the paper stands for, what the paper has in it, and let people know that it is something they have access to for free. And it's a weekly paper. There's a lot of readers, and it's also electronic. So if you could give us a little bit more about that, each of you, about the things that are in our paper, where it comes from, where it's written, and all of the information that we offer for free. We do have, the wonderful great give that you guys will probably hear about before you see the show. But we're here, and I want you guys to know what our paper stands for. So I think I'll start with Jamal on that one because I know Jamal has it in his hand every week. So let's start with Jamal.
Thank you, Marcy. Yes, the People's World Newsletter. People's World Newsletter is a weekly newsletter that comes out, that we print via weekly. We distribute that newsletter out to comrades throughout the state of Connecticut. It's a labor-led newsletter. You know, it definitely follows the labor movement, and it's also a voice of the community, the voice of the workers, the unemployed, you know, people of color, immigrants, youth, LGBTQ. A lot of the articles are based upon different struggles, different positive actions going on, not only in the country, but, you know, internationally, nationally. Once again, it's a voice for the mass movement. And we utilize that newsletter as a tool of communication to bring to your doorstep every week. You know, we go out in the neighborhood, which is New Hallville, and we offer this labor-led newsletter to the residents in the community of New Hallville.
And it's weekly too, so we have to remember that it's current. It's current events. It's things that are going on right now. You know, we have papers that are come out every day, and they have all kinds of news in them. But this is something that comes out weekly, and it points to the things that are going on that either need help or have been already achieved. So that's one thing that you should know about the People's World. And it's also electronic, right? Jamal's electric, and you can have it delivered. So we'll get into how to get that later down the road. So now, what I want to do, and I'm going to lead in a little differently, Sean, how has your experience been with people out there in this world, being the Zen-centered person that you are?
It's been really wonderful. So far, I think it's been probably my favorite part of what we do is just going out there and you know, knocking on doors and having direct conversations with people in the community. You know, the newsletter is really great. There's you know, as you mentioned, there's the version, the online version where there's tons of stories that are published all the time in all different categories. You know, local news, you know, politics. There's an opinion section, but then we have our little printout of that's more specialized for local stuff around Connecticut and New Haven. So it's a really great opportunity to you know, just bring, like you said, what's current and what's local to the people in the neighborhood, directly to the people who are affected most by this news and these issues. And I've been getting a lot of good responses from people, some good enthusiastic neighbors that have been really grateful for having access to this resource, and it's really just been a pleasure and an honor to be out there, getting to know the neighborhood and engaging, and like I said, just meeting people in the conversations. It's that alone makes the work rewarding for me. It's
That's
you know,
wonderful.
part of the reason why I got involved with the Zen Center as well, and hopefully on the path to becoming a teacher here. Just that, you know, being able to talk to people and you know, learn from them and help each other, and just, you know, the whole the community is really the most important thing for me.
It's wonderful. I can see in you that you're a thinker, and it's always good to have a thinker. You know, you could tell I'm really, really going to think about this, you know, thing here. So it's really good to have a thinker, because that means that you can communicate really well with almost anybody. That's the hard part, is that a lot of people cannot communicate with anybody. And I know that thinkers, not overthinkers now, thinkers are usually able to communicate with anybody on any level. And I have to say it's a blessing to be that type of person. So, you know, I can go whatever level I need to go to. You know, it could be hard copy or soft copy, which one you want. You know, so it's good that you have that ability. And it also, I can imagine it really, really helps the people when you communicate with them. Now, Miss Lisa. So Lisa is like everything. When I tell you she does a little bit of everything, I don't think there's much that she doesn't do besides rest, because I don't think any of us get any sleep. I think we'll get sleep when we're done with this work. I don't know, but Lisa, she works on sleep. I mean, I don't think a lot of us get that, but Lisa. So first off, how long have you been with the party? Number one. Number two is how long have you been leading the youth? And then you can go into some things that you actually do with leading the youth. And Lisa's out there when we're out on pounding the pavement. She's at tables. She's everywhere. So you never know where you're going to see Lisa, but wherever she is, she's going to definitely be bringing the fierceness of our female energy to make sure you understand that this is the way things are going and this is the way they should go. So tell me a little bit more that I know. I'm just not going to tell it for
Oh,
you.
thank you, Marcia. I'm humbled by your words. It's very, very thoughtful and kind. And we all there together. We're all there together, kicking butt and taking names, as they say.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm. Literally taking
yeah,
names.
hey, that's right. We need more names. We want more names.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I first started to be an activist. Well, I guess I was always just really angered when I saw really, really wealthy communities and then very, very poor communities right next to each other. And how could that be in this world? We're in 2023. How can segregation still exist? How can we still have segregation in 2023? It's just like mind blowing to me. It was always, when I grew up, it was like always just blew my mind that this was still happening. Anyway, so one of the ways that I figured out a way to make a difference was joining the labor movement. I had no idea what unions were when I went to school and college, but then I learned because my first year of college, some of my friends did a sit-in the admissions office at my university, and they occupied the admissions office. They slept there for 2 weeks. They wouldn't leave until the president signed a living wage contract for the custodial workers at the school at Wesleyan University, and they won. And I wasn't in the sit-in, but I was like bringing them food and helping with banners. And afterwards, I was like, I kind of wish I had done the sit-in. So like after that, I just kind of always wanted to be involved and be, on the front line if I could. And then when I graduated from school, I started volunteering with the union, actually with the union that Jamal is a leader of, with Local 217, and some other unions. Long story short, I met Joel Fishman and the Communist Party members while I was being a labor activist, union activist, because the Communist Party is always 100,000% there with the unions and in every single fight, in the hardest fights. The Communist Party has been there on the front lines, in the rain, in the snow, in the heat, walking picket lines for really since the Communist Party started in this country in 1919, I believe. So anyway, we're on May Day. I know we're going to talk about May Day in a minute, but that's the history of the party. And anyway, long story short, I joined the Communist Party in 2005. So it's 2023. So coming up on 20 years of being in the party for me. And it's been an incredible experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's something that made me who I am. And also like the patience that you were giving me credit for, Marcy, I think everyone in the party has taught me patience with people, because people are really struggling and we need to like see the good in our working class people who are like really going through a lot. And a lot of people can be leaders and they never thought of themselves as, I didn't really think ever of myself as being a leader. It's like, what? That's not me. But the party and other, people saw that I could be that, because my heart was in the right place, and I have love in my heart. All of us have love in our hearts. So for people, so that's what really has kept me in the party, I think, is that patience and that commitment to our working class communities to really like support and find that gold that is all there, all the talent, all the gold that we can just create a beautiful community together and fight for what's right together.
Yes.
I don't know if I said that right, but that's
fine.
what I'm trying to say.
You have to realize, because we do this work, we have jargon. So now I'm going to take this question, and all of you tell people what working class is, because some people don't even understand the word labor. Okay, they don't understand laborers, they don't understand what unions are. So we have to kind of break it down into some like layman terms for some people that wouldn't understand. Okay, well, they're talking things that I don't understand, because a lot of people don't do anything but go to work and leave. I have people that have union dues taken out of their check and never knew what a union, they still don't know what a union is, and they've retired. So I just want you guys to take a moment and just say, what is working class? So each of you just real short sentence on what working class and labor and some of the other words, like the words that we use that someone that doesn't understand the struggle, they may be even in it and they don't know that, listen, we're working for the laborer, we're working for the working class, we're working for the underprivileged, working for the unfair practices. And even if you're not from New Haven, what Jamal had mentioned earlier, where from one block to the next is, poor or more, wealthy, and then there's middle class. We literally have that. I literally call it Whitney Avenue, Prospect, and Winchester. And believe it or not, Dixwell, being one of the longest streets, has all of that on that one street from where it starts to where it ends. So just take a moment and let people know working class, like some of the words that we use. What does it mean in layman terms, even real simple, working class. Because some people might go working class, I don't work, and they're working class anyway because they're self-employed, but they don't really. So whomever would like to go first, Sean or Jamal?
I'm gonna give it a shot. I would say working class to me is just, people that are employed in industrial work, manual work, any kind of skill set, that requires physical labor. And then tied into working class is a lot of struggles and disparities that comes with that fight. But those are some ideals that come to my mind when I think of working class. I'm a working class guy. I'm a person that uses my physical labor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sean, you want to give it a shot? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yes. So, this is a question that I think, there's a lot of different sort of ways to look at it and different answers to it from depending on who you ask. But I personally would say that, even whether you're employed or not, I'd say working class is, I would say anybody who is, living, check to check, anybody who, wouldn't be able to survive if they lost their income. There's a lot of people who they don't even know how much money they're bringing in. It's so much, and there's people that don't, they're just living off in the investments that they've made and off of the work of other people. I think it's just anybody who's just a few steps away from having nothing, I guess. And that's so much of the country, which is just ridiculous, because we are the wealthiest country in the world, and so many people around here have next to nothing, or so close to, we're closer to, the we're all closer to the bottom than we are to the people on the top. I think anybody who's in that position is part of the working class.
Yeah. Day to day, moment to moment. Some people breath to breath. It's not even check to check. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Lisa.
Yeah, I really like what Sean and Jamal already said. Our late comrade Art Perlow, who passed, was our amazing education teacher who would really break these things down really well. So he actually would say almost exactly what Sean just said, which is that if you're a person who has to work to live, you can be also, you know, what they call white collar worker, like working in the tech industry or desk jobs. You know, all these jobs are also working class jobs. If you have to earn a paycheck to be able to pay your rent and get through, rather than relying on investments and stopping, you know, like you could take a year off and just lift off your investments, then that's what we would think of as like the owning class, the people who own the means of production, or are, you know, owning wealth as opposed to producing wealth, which is what the working class does. So, but I think everyone already said it beautifully.
See, and this is the reason why I asked all three of you for your different views. It's the
Yeah,
same as what
and
I said.
if I
Go
could
ahead.
hop back in for 1 second, I think that's what Lisa just said is very important too, that the working class are the ones who produce all of the wealth in the country, while the owners are the ones who get all of the wealth of the country. I think that's one of the most important things to have in mind.
Mm-hmm. It's perfect, you know, and I
Mhm.
think that's the way I like to make sure everybody understands. So, with that being said, I don't even know, we have so many things that we're going through right now in this country. I mean, we've gotten through COVID, but at the same rate, we're still in the middle of COVID because there are people that are still homeless because of 2020, because of March 2020 that changed their lives. There's people that lost so many people that, you know, they lost their provider or they lost their home or they lost just lost period. So besides the working part of what we do, let's get into some of the just, I call them just person rights. I don't just call them human rights, I call them person rights that we work with and what we're working with now. We have an event on May 7th, and hopefully this will air before that. If not, I do want people to know that how important it is to be at an event during this time in this country. So our event specifically, if Jamal or Lisa would like to get a little into, well, Jamal, get into a little bit about May 7th and what it's going to be about, and then we can get into some of the specifics.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you, Marcy. Yes, like Marcy just said, May 7th, we'll be celebrating International Workers' Day at the People's Center, 37 House Street, New Haven, Connecticut. It's going to be live in person. It's going to be at 4 o'clock. Once again, May 7th, 4 p.m. at the People's Center, or it's going to be live streamed on our Facebook event page. This year we'll be honoring our labor movement heroes locally, nationally, and internationally. Just focusing on the different worker struggles and marches around the globe. We're gonna have a nice panel roundtable this year with panelists from Local 33, 1199, Starbucks Workers United, and 32BJ highway workers. They will be our 4 panelists this year. Yeah. So it's gonna be very excited. Please come out if you can. If not, it will be live streamed on our Facebook page, which is Connecticut People Center. Facebook /Connecticut People Center. That's the page will be on the event page. So yeah, please come out and come out and let's celebrate our labor heroes on the 7th.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, if this doesn't air before, then you can always go back. You're usually able to go back to the page, and it's still there. Or you can reach out to one of us, you know, through Facebook, and our names are right here. So the only one that doesn't have the last name is Sean Buskey. So if you need to, like, just I don't know, he's zenning. We're gonna let him zen because we need him to do that because he's gonna keep us sane once he's really, really pounding the pavement when he can, as opposed to staying centered for us. So, and you name some numbers. So this is one other thing I want to mention too. A lot of people don't know what the numbers mean in their union. If you have a union and they're on your paycheck and you're paying the dues, look up the number and find out what the title of that union is. he did he did mention some of the titles of some of the numbers, but there are union numbers for the workers. So if you don't have a union, you will actually know how to form one. And I know what it is, but Lisa, tell people what a union is, because a lot of people don't even know what a union is, because they think it's, oh, somebody's going to tell me something. So let's start there, and then we're going to go into the event itself.
Oh, okay. Well, Jamal's a union steward, so I don't know if I should defer to him first, because he's in the thick of it every day. Okay.
I'm doing
Well,
it for a reason. So you'll see.
okay, no problem. No
I'm
problem.
going
So
through
a
it.
union, yeah, a union is basically a group of workers coming together to fight for their rights on the job and to have a voice on the job. And you know, it's very difficult if I'm at my job and I don't like something going on, maybe they cut my hours, or a particular supervisor speaks to me in a disrespectful way, or I'm speaking Spanish and someone says you can't speak Spanish here, this is English only, and it feels very disrespectful to me. It's very hard to fight that by myself. I can have a meeting with my supervisor, but if are they gonna, you know, change just because I said so? Usually, probably not. And usually they might even, you know, they might even have do a punishment on me. They might cut my hours even more for speaking up, or they might fire me for speaking up. So when you have a union, you build that with everyone together, because the workers, when they're together, they have a lot of power, all the power actually, because just like we talked about, if I'm producing the wealth for the people who, you know, own this company, and I stop working with all my other coworkers for even an hour, we just cut into all that money that they're making off of the work that Marcy and Jamal and Sean and Lisa are making, because we came together. So that's what usually the management and owning class are afraid of unions because of that. So they really, in certain circumstances, they will speak very badly of unions to people to scare them away from joining a union, because of that simple fact. They would much rather have business as usual, where you don't get a voice and you don't get to say what doesn't work for you. You don't get to speak up about disrespect. They want business as usual. So the union is there for people to come together and have power and actually be able to negotiate. You know, the cost of rent is going crazy right now. We have, you know, we have a rent crisis conversation going on in the party right now. You know, cost of food is going crazy. Like, we're gonna sit down and negotiate with our employer we need to have a raise that's going to keep up with the cost of living. Cost of living is not going down. Our wages need to match that or go beyond, because we're, you know, we're working, we need to be able to provide for families. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
We have one person, just one person fighting that. It's retaliation time. But if it's everyone, then we have, it's a unity. So, you know, you're about to lose some money because you're going to have to do what's fair. And Jamal, I just want you to explain what you do as being one of those people that fight for the fairness.
Oh, yes. Just push the agenda, like Lisa was saying. Just pushing the agenda of solidarity, strength on the job, making sure the common interest of wages and benefits and scheduling on the management team is done, and then we have a contract which both parties follow. So there's certain language in that contract. For example, there might be language in the contract that management can't be working. So if there's a manager working, or like Lisa said, if there's a employee going through a certain issue on the job of unfairness or mistreatment, we have a grievance procedure where we could form a grievance and have a one-on-one meeting with the manager. And then if we don't like that meeting, we could push it to a next step, which we could have a meeting with the regional manager. And if we don't like that, we can hopefully push it to the third step, which is arbitration, where we go in front of a judge to hear the case. So it's basically, you know, just being on the workplace, keeping our ears open to the workers, especially just making sure the management and the employer are aligned and treating everybody fairly with respect. Um, and I'm proud to be a union member. And once again, it gives us a voice, especially
Yes.
the Black and Brown community. So yes, all power to union.
Yeah. So I mean, it's united. So I figured, you get two. So let's go into some of the current things. We have the event on May 7th, and we have a lot of current events that are going on. Some of the fights that we're in, we're up to our heads, and like, that wonderful rent and the housing. And we have so much going on right now. One of our largest, and I just want to get into this just a little bit. But before I do that, I just want to remind everybody that you're listening to MarceyLynn once again on 103.5 WNHHLP, New Haven Independence Radio, community radio, that is. And this is MarceyLynn once again. As you know, this is your show. It will always be your show. It's not my show. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have something going on and you need to have a minute or 40 and tell me what's going on. But again, I'm talking with Jamal Henderson, Lisa Bergman, and Sean Buskey, who are all community leaders and comrades with me. And we work and we work and we work and we work in these streets. Just in case you were wondering, I said we work in these streets. So right now, one of our big fights, we have so many. So there's so many large fights. Which one should we focus on first? This is the thing. So Jamal, what are we gonna start with?
Like you said, Marcy, we're unfortunately, fighting a host of fights. We have the Tax the Rich campaign, which has been a core campaign that we stand by as a party in the clubs. We also have housing as a human right. We all know the affordable housing issue. The tenant issue is a crisis, not only in New Haven but all around the country. So those are some key fights that we're knee deep in, and then we have anything from youth jobs to community violence intervention and prevention, mental health and illness services. And once again, affordable housing and taxing the rich is two of our key campaigns right now. We're currently. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. When you say affordable housing, it's amazing because, it was like during COVID, it was the scoop up. I really think they scooped up a bunch of houses, and now the rents are just out of market because they have all these new landlords, and a lot of the tenants were tenants that didn't have, and we mentioned this on Sinclair's show, with New Haven Legal attorney or the tenant lawyer. They literally scooped up these houses with tenants that have been there for 10, 20, 15 years, but they didn't have new leases. So a lot of those people that are in those hotels are the people that did not know that they needed to get a lease every year because they were trusting their landlord. Now their landlord fell into hard times and went ahead and sold the house, but the person that bought the house knew. Do you have an updated lease? Guess what? You got 4 or 5 days because you really don't have. You just lost all your rights. And this is something that Sinclair did mention on there. So a lot of the cause is lack of knowledge. Here we go again with the lack of knowledge. And, so it's just a matter of teaching people and letting them learn. So with that, it's just a horrible struggle. I know, and this is just me speaking now, that there are some hotels that don't have fridges and microwaves that have families of 10 living in them. And at the same time, because they don't have an address, they can't get access to certain DSS services. Now, we can give you food stamps, but how are you going to eat? So now you're eating cold cuts, you're eating things that are unhealthy for you. And now you have a health crisis. So it's like one thing leading to the next. So that's just me speaking. So Lisa, what's a fight besides, what's the fight with the housing for you, and maybe another fight that we're in so many, so.
Well, thanks, Marcia. I think, the housing fight is something that, and the tax to rich, they're all connected. And this year at the state legislature, there's been a lot of really exciting things happening in terms of trying to challenge the status quo in Connecticut in regards of housing and redistributing the wealth in Connecticut. We know we have I think 12 billionaires or something in Connecticut, and a lot of millionaires. And so if we were able to redistribute anyway, we've been in meetings with charts about how much money those few people have compared to the vast majority of residents of our major cities and towns. And it's devastating and heartbreaking to see how unequal that wealth is currently distributed. So the housing fight is a big piece of that. The Communist Party just published a wonderful booklet around housing rights that we are just starting to distribute on the paper route that you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
And it'll also be available digitally. One thing that we can just share right now is that part of the research that was done around evictions is that 70% of the time when someone had access to an attorney, they were able to avoid an eviction. And so we're here to sort of support people in getting connected with support if you're facing eviction, which many people are because of this housing crisis and the skyrocketing of rent. Get in touch with Marcy, get in touch with us. We want to really back people up and come together around this, because it's devastating. Once you lose your housing, it's so challenging to keep a job, to keep your family afloat, families out in the street, families evicted from even the tent city, already living outside, evicted from there. It's just a very violent situation. So anyway, we're here to back each other up, and that's part of what we're committed to and working on right now. Thanks.
And I explain to people that, okay, a lot of the organizations out there that are out there to help you only need a notice to quit, not an eviction, because people don't understand a notice to quit is not. That's like a step before the eviction process. You get the notice to quit. There's so many organizations, even Community Action now has, Community Action in New Haven has a program, as long as you have a notice to quit. But it's so sad that you have to get there. So with all that, I'm going to go into Sean. Sean, in your lifestyle, what is the easiest way for you, or what is the thing with the housing crisis, besides the housing crisis, that makes you kind of cringe and fight as hard as you do? I don't even want to call you new, because you've been there for 2 years. So you've probably been doing this for a long time before you made that decision to be there for 2 years. So give me an idea.
Well, yeah. So yeah, even being still like pretty new to being involved in organizing. I've always always had the I guess the mindset of an activist. I think the first protest that I ever was involved in was I didn't even think of it as a protest. I was about 12 years old and by myself in school. It was around Thanksgiving time, and I decided that I wasn't going to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance anymore to raise awareness for the Native American genocide, because I didn't like how they were still sort of feeding us that lie, that story about the Pilgrims and the Indians and being best friends, and I had an uncle who told me the true story about all of that, and I decided I wasn't going to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance anymore because they were lying about Thanksgiving. I remember getting sent to the principal's office and having to plead my case, and so yeah, just growing up, a lot of it was being influenced by listening to a lot of punk rock music and hip hop music. Just had that fight the power attitude, and I guess for a long time, I just didn't really know how to get involved. I didn't really realize that there was, that there were these movements and these groups and organizations out there actually fighting and organizing and coming together. So, even though I'm new to the actual work of the, where the rubber
Mhm.
meets the road, I've been a long time sort of, I guess, studier of leftist theory, and I've always been really interested in like the history of the labor movements and everything. But I don't know. I think it was just around the last few years, ever since the Trump presidency, as much of a disaster as that was, I think it also woke a lot of people up and got a lot of people to realize how broken things were for a lot of people. And I started learning more about what was going on, getting involved, and yeah, a lot of these issues are really important to me. Housing, I myself was unhoused about 10 years ago. I was living in a tent myself, and so I experienced that firsthand. And even now that I've have a roof over my head and a steady job and everything, I still, as I mentioned before, I'm closer to going back to that than I am to the American dream. It's
Mhm.
and I just recognize that's the situation that most of the country is in.
Mhm.
All of these different fights that are going on, the fight for housing and the fight for racial justice, and there's for immigrants, there's all the anti-LGBTQ legislation going on. There's all these different fights, but I think the one string that sort of weaves them all together is these are all, in a way, working class issues, because
Mhm.
the people, the wealthiest people in our society are really, I think, in a lot of ways insulated from a lot of these social issues, and the people who are actually affected by them are the people that don't have a lot of money to protect themselves from all the harm that comes from all these different issues and situations. So yeah, I think just the coming up, I've as a white hetero cis male, I'm pretty much socially in every position of privilege that there is except for class. So just seeing how even having every social privilege that you could want and not having the money to back it up, it's I see how just what a big part of just existing in the world that is. And yeah, that's the my motivation for getting to this work, into this fight.
Makes sense. Makes
Mhm.
sense. You said the American dream. What? Listen, we just dream to breathe at this point.
Mhm.
And America is, you know, we're not as free as we think we are. But some people come here to escape death. That's probably the only thing that they're safe from when they get here is the death that they were facing at home, because they're gonna have to face everything else. And unity is the key. And that is what we are all about. We're all about uniting people like-minded to help people that have the same problems. So even the people that can't fight for themselves, or the people that don't even know that they need somebody to fight for them. So that is the work that we do. And I always explain to people, I said, I know everybody hears the communist word, and you got to remember. And there was someone that got an award recently, I think at our award ceremony, and he said, you can't judge that word by bad leaders. There's some bad leaders that used that word and turned it around to make us seem like we're bad people. But that is the purpose of making us seem like we're bad people, because nobody wants people to unite people to fight against rights. And a lot of times it's the people that are making the money, the billionaires that are making the money off the blood, sweat, and tears of the working class. Those are the people that have the most power, and that's why the C word ended up being called the C word. So I always say that all the time. And every opportunity that I get to explain to people that is why the C word is bad, because they want it to be bad, because they don't want you to unite. They don't want you to. But there were some horrible leaders. There's still some horrible leaders that are out there. I always say it's like the devil has a kingdom too, no matter what you're into. So no matter what you're into. So in these last 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes or so, I really wanted to focus on what we have coming up and how to reach each of you, and how to reach us as a party. So I think as far as reaching us as a party, I will go to Lisa, and how to reach Jamal to get the newspaper, and Sean to deliver the newspaper. So that way you can say, look, this is how you can listen. If this airs after May 7th, you can still go online to the website, the same Facebook page, and message us. You know you can contact me anytime, because I try to hide, but it doesn't work out well. But I just want each of you to take a moment and let people know what your focus is, how to reach whatever that is right now, whatever your focus is right now, because we have so many focuses, but I know each of us kind of hones in on our own thing. So we will start with, let's start with Sean. He's still unmuted, so you're trying to drink your coffee. I'm catching you. Lisa,
It's fine.
this is I'm sorry, Sean, to interrupt you. But this is an example of how much we work. My girl Lisa is eating because she got to eat. And I had to do the same thing a little while ago, because I only had like 45 minutes in between this. And I'm like shoving food in my mouth, but at the same time getting sick because I'm a diabetic, and realizing I'm getting sick because I didn't eat. And then I was yelling at Jamal saying, what did I say, Jamal? You have to fuel. No, but I did it to myself. So that's how busy we are, okay? We have to eat when we got to eat, and don't feel ashamed that you got to eat. That just shows how busy our schedules are. So Jamal.
Yes. Yeah, if you need a newsletter, you're in the New Haven, Connecticut area, if you're watching, you can email me at Jamal, JAHMAL, Henderson, HENDERSON, all one word, at yahoo.com. Leave me your address, your mailing address, and we'll definitely get you the weekly People's World newsletter to your doorstep. And some current things that I've been working on is just, working with the youth. That's something I'm passionate about. Kind of trying to bring down this crime and this gun issue. That's all tied into poverty, which is all tied into capitalism, right? So I'm highly into those fights. Mental illness is something that's been on my mind. The mental illness issue, it's a public health issue that's been on my mind. And yeah, those are some key things I got going on, and once again, if you need that newsletter, labor-led, it's the voice of the people, we could definitely get it to your door. So Jamal Henderson, all one word, at yahoo.com. Thank you, Marcy.
It's the name that you see right under him. So you could just, at Yahoo. Now, Lisa. Uh-oh. Really?
Oh, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Well, if you want to learn more about the Communist Party, you can just go to cpusa.org. Communist Party USA is the formal name, so cpusa.org. Up there, you can read everything about our party in the United States. It's totally public. It's totally, legal organization, and you can read everything that we stand for. activities that we are involved with. And if you want to go so far as joining, you can join right there. And if you're in Connecticut and you decide to join, then we will get that that sent to our Connecticut local party. So we'll reach out to you personally if you end up joining that way. And yeah, I personally, so I also have sort of grown up doing youth organizing, and I'm always in love with working with young people in all capacities. And currently I teach dance and martial arts. So I'm teaching dance and martial arts to young people. And that is also a really beautiful experience, because I think in this world where, so many resources have been stripped away from our communities, and in like communities of color, working class communities are constantly under attack and being things taken away from people. We want to make sure we're making sure that those things are right back in the community. The martial art that I teach happens to have Afro-Brazilian roots, so I enjoy bringing that back to the African American community in New Haven, but all communities really. So that's what I've been doing a lot of recently, is just sort of bringing my art back into people's lives, and I've been enjoying it. But looking forward to this year, we're going to have a lot of great actions. May 17th is a big action in Hartford, I believe, right, Jamal? Yeah, so Hartford, all the labor unions, this amazing coalition called Recovery for All, are talking immigrant rights, labor unions, youth, the Sunrise Movement, like the environmental movement, the peace movement, all these Communist Party, everybody, we're going up to a huge rally on May 17th for the Recovery for All program, which is basically taxing the rich and redistributing wealth. Oh, sorry, my toaster's going off. Hold on. Speaking of eating.
That's all right. That's okay.
Hilarious. So yeah, so if you all want to join us up there, May 17th, I believe it's at the Capitol. It's a Wednesday. That would be really a good action to join. If you can, you can always reach out to us for transportation as well. My Facebook is just Lisa Bergman. My full name, my last name is Bergmann. You guys can message me. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Sean. You're still muted. It's okay.
Sorry about that. So so we've we've been mentioning this May Day event up on the 7th, and I think for anybody who's interested in learning more about what we do, I think that would be a really great opportunity for an introduction to the party and to the work of just the labor movement in general. There's going to be a great slideshow, I believe, of just the history of some working class history around May Day, and some of the work just over the years in the past. And I think that would be a great opportunity to come down and meet other comrades. A lot of us are going to be there at the People's Center that's in House Street in New Haven, and at 4 o'clock. And yeah, and then also there's the, as Lisa just mentioned, the big rally up in Hartford for Recovery for All, the coalition that Communist Party is a part of for taxing the rich. And yeah, I really think, it's just such an important project. I really believe that if we want to make this country a better place for everybody, the only way that we're gonna get things, really good for everybody is by getting more people into this fight, by getting, raising the numbers and getting more people organizing and coming together. Because, Lisa mentioned earlier when we were talking about unions, alone, you can't fight the power alone. You can only do it together. And if enough of us are
Mhm.
together, then we're unstoppable.
Somebody's
So,
listening.
yeah. So, yeah, I think just coming together and really, these housing and taxing the rich to use that money to invest in the communities, just getting people out of poverty, I think is the most important thing. Because I always talk about, these things that we're involved in, they affect, the poor people in our communities, the more than anybody else. But when you're in that situation, a lot of people are just so worn out trying to survive that they don't have the time
Mhm.
and the energy to get into activism or political engagement.
Mhm.
So if we want to raise the numbers, we need to, make it easier for these people to be able to fight. And I know it takes it's really hard getting off the ground floor, but I think that's where we're at right now. We're just trying to, you know, get people out of poverty, give people a fighting chance, so that we
Mhm.
can come together and start building this place up to where very 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 well can be. This our whole planet, our society can be
Mhm.
so much better than it is. We have the resources and the technology and the know-how, and we have the love and the motivation to create a paradise here, and we're just really being held back by the greed of a handful of people. It's just so ridiculous. So yeah, just educating people and getting our numbers up and getting more people involved. That's
Mhm.
the the important thing right now.
Yeah.
And
Knowledge is key. And I always say the fight doesn't end as long as the world spins. So, regardless, as soon as we get done with something, there's something else, but that thing normally comes around. Because look at the minimum wage. I don't think that'll ever end because everything's still going to go up. So, look at, you know, a lot of the fights that we're winning in increments. So, our work will never be done because the work that we do is so important. And all we are asking is for people to gain the knowledge to understand the work that we do before they make a judgment or before they give up. Mental health, it all goes back to that because all the things that we're fighting for affect people's mental health. Never think you're alone because there's always somebody out there going through the same, even to the detail, because this world is so big, to the detail. There's somebody out there that experienced it the same way you did. It's not even a situation where they like your father died. It's the way your father died. It's the cancer or whatever that caused whatever the illness was. So the work that we do is to indemnify people and to make people understand that even though we're winning fights in increments, this fight is going to go on. Look, we're 103 years old now. So think about it. If in 103 years the fight has been going, we've been fighting and fights and fights and fights and fights, and most of those aren't even won from the first fight. We're still fighting the first fight in a different way 103 years later. So you have to remember that we need you guys. We need the youth. We need everyone to see themselves in one of us. And it works out beautifully because guess what? There's four types of humans, and society sees four types of humans. We have to someone, we would think we have a white woman, a white man, a black woman, and a black man. But guess what? We're all human. If you cut me, I'm gonna bleed the same. If you bite me, I might not bite back, but you're gonna get bit back eventually because you did something wrong. So I thank you all for your time, and I really, really appreciate each and every one of you for being here with me. And I love you. So there ain't nothing you can do about that. All right. But once again, you've been listening to MarceyLynn once again on 103.5 FM, WNHH LP, your community show, New Haven Independence Community Radio. And again, I'd like to thank Jamal Henderson, Lisa Bergman, and Sean Buskey. If you need us, find us. Y'all know how to find me. You ain't got to search too hard. I'm the woman with the earrings and the hair. Love you. God bless. Love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thanks for having us.
Happy May Day.
Blessings,
Thanks,
blessings,
Marcy.
blessings. Thank you again, Marcy, Sean, Lisa. Good interview. Blessings and peace.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. We'll see
All
everybody
right.
soon.
Love you guys.
See you Sunday, May 7th, 4 o'clock.
See you Sunday. I'm going to finish eating. Mwah.
Yeah, praise goes up, blessings come down. I need a blessing right now.